Thank you for BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you find a wide range of issues. To get started, you can answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp.com matches you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however you wish is comfortable, whether it's via chat, text, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for you for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you can get the same professionalism and quality you expect in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom picked for you. More scheduling flexibility and more affordable prices. Get 10% off the first month at betterhelp.com/nerdlocker, and we will also have the link down below in the description.
Hey guys, welcome to our Locker Podcast, your entertainment podcast for everything movies, television, video games, and more. My name is Adam.
Harley.
And today we are back with the part 2 of Harley on for conspiracy talk and TED Talk kind of thing. So let's talk about some not as crazy conspiracies. But before that, I want to start you up a little bit. I need to get you going because the whole point of having you on this podcast is to get that craziness out of you. And I think we're going to do it. You're the point of summer craziness to start it off. So let's talk about, we talked about it in the last episode, Baba Yanga and her predictions. She predicted that 9/11 was going to happen, the tsunami was going to hit, and...
Listen, I'm just going to stop you right there, bro. I'll take it from here, okay? Listen, first of all, Baba Vanga, I don't know if you guys have looked into this at all, but there is zero record.
There is zero record
of her predictions.
Yes.
There's none. Go look for them. They're not written down. And in fact, some websites will say Baba Vanga didn't keep a record of her predictions. So, it's debatable what she said and didn't say.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, why are we talking about this woman being a fortune teller or like a future seer when none of her predictions are even written down? Listen, we were looking at an episode of Ancient Aliens on the History Channel on
YouTube.
Which
talked about her.
Which was talking about her in an Ancient Aliens show, which we all know aliens. We all know what that's like.
Yeah.
They literally quoted her. They quoted her in the show.
In 1989.
In 1989, okay?
She made all those predictions
It
in
literally
89.
says, in quotes, and uses the voiceover of some random Russian girl going, American brethren will fall to steel birds. Baba Vagas, 1989. And then they call that a prediction of 9/11. First of all, are we even sure that Baba Vaga said that? Are we even sure about that? No, we're not. There's no record of her saying that whatsoever. It's just Ancient Aliens saying whatever they want.
But the thing is, while we were watching this, you were saying, well, she didn't say when, it wasn't September 11th, and the same with the tsunami. You're like, tsunami's
That's
hit.
right.
But then it was funny because it was like that episode was like, hold on, hold my beer. Because it was just like the next one was the 44th president of the United States was going to be African American and everyone's going to put all their hope into him. And you were just like, all right, that's pretty specific. I'll give it that. And
look, if Baba Vanga said that, I'll give her one.
Her. Yeah, she gets one on the leaderboard.
If she said it. But when did she say it?
1989.
1989? Okay, so
you need a time machine. Go back to 1989. Find Baba Yanga.
Listen, if I find Baba Vaga, I don't remember what her name is. It's like...
It's either Yanga or Vanga, one or the other.
Vanga. It's Baba Vanga or something. Anyway, this poor old Bulgarian woman, I feel so bad for her, dude. I'm just gonna...
Okay, so moving on to a different theory. Let's talk about
No,
something.
hang on. I got one more thing to say about this. This is ridiculous. So basically, any of you could be Baba Vanga. Just predict that there's going to be a tsunami, And at any time in the next 20 years, if there is one, maybe you have a little special ability.
You're a prophet.
I don't know.
You're a wizard, Harry.
That's what Baba Vance did. She said there will be a tsunami, and guess what?
There was a tsunami.
20 years later, there was.
But she also said there'd be a 44th African American president.
Maybe.
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 So
According to ancient aliens.
another theory that I found, not going on all the craziness of government lying to us. Let's just talk about a smaller company lying to us. Let's talk about a theory that has been going around for a while, hasn't really gotten a lot of traction, but something that I feel like could still be revisited: the Frozen Disney theory. So this theory goes with Disney made the movie Frozen to change search engines on the internet to bring up the movie instead of the theory that Walt Disney's head was cryogenically frozen underneath Walt Disney World or Disneyland or wherever they say it is. But that was like the point. Now, again, I've talked to you very much about this theory, and not in full detail, but enough of where I necessarily don't believe that his head is frozen somewhere, but I definitely do see Disney as a company doing everything they could in a way to just eliminate that out of their, like if you talk about Disney, we're not talking about that. Because I do remember even just about 15 years ago, that was still a relevant thing. People still talked about that when the topic of Walt Disney was brought up, was that he was still frozen, like his head's frozen. Like it was just a passing thought people said so commonly. And I think nowadays with the 8 years that Frozen somehow was relevant, then the sequel comes out and now they're making a third one. And it's like, how far down these pages do they want that Google search to go to?
Yeah. So as far as conspiracy theories go, this one to me is somewhat plausible. And the reason I say that is because I can totally see a company like Disney doing absolutely anything to save face or to like not have any bad thing come up when you Google their name.
Yeah.
I mean, like, dude, if I could make something not bad come up when I Google my name, I'd do that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so for Disney, one of like the largest, most money making corporations in the country, I can totally see that. The thing though is, there actually is a lot of like evidence for this, because like evidence at least that it worked. I'm not saying evidence that they did it for that reason.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I looked on the Wayback Machine, right? And I looked at like I went to Google and looked at the search results when you type in the word Disney Frozen. Before the Frozen movie came out, everything was about Disney's frozen head, frozen brain, all this other stuff. And then, I mean, as soon as like Frozen the movie was out, it was gone. It was like, okay, all Frozen movie search results,
Yeah.
And like every time they make a sequel or make new merch or whatever, like it's just burying it deeper and deeper and deeper. And I think if you Googled now the words Disney Frozen, you'd be hard pressed to even find that story.
And that's the thing too. I think it's more the fact of, and even if someone tried to like hashtag, like we wrote a blog post about that now, it would get pushed down because of the movie. Like there's nothing you can really do to go above that because of how long not only has it been in the limelight, but also
and how many
just
clicks it gets every day probably.
And it's just the amount of merchandise, the amount of short films, the amount of promotional material, because they were there to like support, or like they were on Danimals, they were on all this, like they were just on everything you could think of, plastered everywhere. It was like Mickey Mouse again. And yeah, Disney doesn't want anything bad with them or anything that has to have any negative connotation. But again, it had to have been purposeful because of the fact of the movie itself is based on the Snow Queen, which is a Brothers Grimm fairy tale, which is super dark, by the way, and a completely different story. But that's Disney's like MO, is taking older fairy tales and making them into movies, because Snow White was a fairy tale. Like it was nothing like original. It was just his own versions of things.
Yeah.
So for them to go back and do that's true. But again, Disney
side note here.
Yes.
Small conspiracy theory just for you guys to think about that I've looked into and actually do believe. Pretty much all of Disney's movies are like ripped off from somewhere, including The Lion King.
We're not going to talk about The Lion King.
Shout out.
We're not going to talk about The Lion King.
Shout out to Kimba the White Lion.
Okay.
Shout out.
Gotcha. We'll go into that another time. We've already been into... Okay, so, but regardless, you go into this mindset of the princesses and everything. Like Sleeping Beauty was Sleeping Beauty. Like a lot of them, the names carried through, and I think that was also for popularity and like for relevancy. So why did not name it the Snow Queen? Why name it like it's Frozen for that reason? But I feel like they could have named it so many other things, but they specifically chose Frozen. I don't know if there's any other names before that for the movie, if they were gonna have other like production names
surely
or
they
working
had pitched
titles.
other names.
Yeah,
But I would be 100% not surprised if that was brought up during the pitch meeting. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody was like, if we named it Frozen, we could get rid of this, little story that pops up in Google searches. I think at the very least, this could have at least been a side thought, because for sure when Disney makes anything,
they put a lot of thought into
they
that.
put a lot of thought into it,
Yeah.
and they make sure they have every possible angle to make sure they're not offending anyone, to make sure that it's not going to have some kind of backlash.
Yeah.
Everything. Like, they investigate every angle. So for them to at least in the pitch meeting be like, Frozen would, kind of distract from that other thing, that seems totally realistic to me.
And they kind of do that with a lot of their movies too. Like they definitely make it seem to be where it's either the name of the movie is something that is very like Toy Story. You think Toy Story, Finding Nemo, Monsters Incorporated. You have those, but then you have the other movies that they make that may or may not be names of things that you can easily Google, but just adding the name Disney to something changes the search result. Like you
Yeah.
could look up planes, but then you type in Disney planes, or cars, Disney cars. Like the ones that they did pick that are just regular names are just like enhanced by that extra thing. So like the Disney Frozen, like that search engine was there for like a few years before Frozen came out, and it might have been for that reason. It might have been like, let's release this movie Planes that didn't do well at all. I don't know how Disney thought it would do well, but especially
Was
when
there a movie called Planes?
it was Planes. It wasn't even Pixar. It was just by Disney themselves.
Okay.
Almost the same premise, but didn't do very well. So it's like, did they release that trying to compete with themselves, basically? Or did they release it just to see what a search engine result would look like? Was that enough of throwaway money of like, we could spend this, if it makes it, not. But what's to say that Frozen didn't go down that same road and wasn't very successful and was a flop? Would it still have been successful to this day, or would we still have the Frozen head on Google searches if the movie wasn't well received? Like there is that as well. But with that in mind, with other things going into like conspiracy theories and movies, have you ever heard of anything else that have been like, I know there's been like things of cursed sets with The Exorcist, those conspiracies of how like that's cursed, that every single production of that, The Crow, where Brandon Lee died, like a lot of things that dealt with death and like darkness in a movie have also been like theorized or speculated that they're haunted or something like that. Like, do you believe in those? Do you think like that can happen? Do you think like if you do a dark enough story or something like that, do you think that could maybe not necessarily make anything happen, but put people in the mindset that things are happening?
So I just want to say real quick, guys, I'm having something come to me. I'm having some sort of vision right now. I can't tell you. I can't tell you when it's going to happen.
But you're going to say it in 1989?
Yes,
Back
I
then?
said it in 1989.
Yeah.
But right now I'm having a vision that there's going to be a catastrophe.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What kind of catastrophe?
I don't know. It's just coming to me.
Yeah.
That's all that the spirits are saying.
You know what? I'm having a vision now, too. And it's about our listeners going to True Classic Tees.
Yeah,
And-
that came to me too.
Yeah, and they click on the menu and they look at what's in the shop, and then they see all these amazing shirts that are
I
tied
heard
around
that-
the sleeves.
I heard you guys used the Nerd Locker code and got 25% off.
they did.
The
And
spirits told me that.
these shirts are tight around the sleeves. They're
Yeah.
tight around the chest. They're loose in the front. They also sell pants that are super, super comfy. They sell socks, underwear, activewear, polos, V-necks, button downs, everything you could think of. And 25% off all of that if you use our code. First time.
Look,
That's until the end of the month, guys.
you can go to the store and get some shirts that just fit you okay,
Not even okay. Sometimes they're just super boxy and they're just terrible.
Right. Or you could just go to True Classic and get 25% off
And get some
and have
amazing
shirts that you
tees.
know fit good.
Yeah. And they're long lasting too.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys hit that link down below and use 25% off. Use NERDLOCKER. I think I spelled that right.
My vision's coming true.
Yes. All right.
So yeah, so what you were saying, so basically you were asking me, do I think that productions or whatever can become cursed?
Yeah.
Or that at least people become in the mindset that they think it's cursed.
Yeah. Do you think psychology is that like powerful sometimes
Okay.
with things?
So let me just say, first of all, I don't believe in anything supernatural. Okay? Absolutely nothing. I believe in absolutely nothing supernatural. That being said, do I think that human psychology can have really profound effects on what people perceive? For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I think, there's a lot of like self-fulfilling prophecy type stuff. Like you're going to hear what you want to hear. You're going to see what you want to see. And what you think about a lot is going to be what becomes your world. So, if you're working on a project and everybody thinks that the thing is cursed and like that it has bad luck, I mean, something is bound to happen to confirm that,
I mean, it goes into the thing of like mass psychology too, because the reason I even bring it up is how it relates to conspiracy theories, where conspiracy theories, I feel like definitely grow out to a greater scale, but just as something as simple as like a 50, 60, I mean, movie crews now are way bigger than that, but I'm talking about back during like Poltergeist and Crow and Exorcist times. Let's say the crew is about 100 people, and almost every single person that's a part of the crew says, yeah, things are happening, da da da. So like, is that from one person that just like explicitly grew that paranoia to everyone else? Because like, it's just like, yeah, you can say these, because you said about some of the TikToks when it came to the flat earth, you're like, they have all these like people are on there liking and commenting, so like they obviously have to be like interacting. So that's the whole thing of, if there's those millions and thousands of people, depending on what those videos are, and then the 100 people that are on a crew that everyone's saying word for word, yes, this happened, like, are you going to disprove all those 100 people just like you're going to disprove all those millions? Or like, do you think that there's some kind of correlation to all that?
So I think that first of all, it's hard to say what all 100 people believe, because there is a really strong pressure when you're in a group to go with the group and what you perceive to be the group. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're under the impression that the majority of the group thinks that the project is cursed,
Yeah.
the chances are you're going to just go along with that. Number one, maybe you don't want to be a buzzkill. Like, number two, like, you don't want to be the outsider, or like, whatever. I mean, whatever the case may be, I think that to be sure that like all the people in a group believe that thing, I don't think that you can really say that, because you don't know for sure like who's just going along with it and who's not. But that being said, cases of mass delusion are not uncommon. Like, it's happened quite a lot, and it's documented, and it's not something supernatural. It doesn't mean that like one thing that I like to watch sometimes and kind of laugh at is those like ghost finder shows.
Yeah.
So if you asked me, do I think every single person on the cast of the show is just straight up lying about the experience they have? Because like, if you watch those shows, there's always like an incident. Like, there's always like, oh my God, like I felt that, or like I saw a ghost or something. Like, do I think they're all lying? No. Do I think that maybe some of them are kind of bending the truth a little bit? Yeah. But I think they also want it to be that way. I think they believe it and they see it because they want to.
Okay.
Know? So like the same thing like with the cursed films or whatever, like I think on some level, like even when something is bad, sometimes people want to see it. Like I'm not gonna lie, if I was working on a production, like it would suck if my production was cursed, But like it would also be kind of cool, you know. It'd be kind of interesting. I'd be like, oh dang, like curses are real. Like my production is really cursed. Like I'll be able to tell a lot of people about this. You know, like there's a lot of.
Do you think that would
motivations
change your
people have.
perspective on other, like, let's say you had a production, it is cursed. Would that make you believe that the other ones that have claimed they are, or would you still have your disbeliefs?
I need you to clarify what you mean exactly by if I had a production that was cursed. Like, what does cursed mean?
Like you just said. Well, so what has been said before with The Exorcist is like certain things have happened where like Linda Blair's hair was like pulled by like invisible forces. She was like held down in the bed. She couldn't actually get up. People died on, like, had heart attacks on set. Fucking windows broken, like when like off cue, like at random times, or like they weren't even supposed to in general. They just went in and no explanation. Things set on fire. And then the same with the Crow stuff. Ever since Brandon Lee got killed on the set of the first Crow movie, the second one, the third one, all of them had something terrible happen. Explosions, fires, things like that. So it just seemed like we weren't supposed to make those movies. And even though they're still making a brand new Exorcist, like, reboot kind of thing, coming up next year, but still in general, like, there was just so much around it. And it's like, so if you had an instance where like all these things that cannot be explained are happening, like dark things that are meaning to do harm in those ways, and you see it with your own eyes, and you know there's nothing to prove it, like that it's something else, are you going to like go back on what you thought, or would you just be like, well, it happened to me, but I still don't think it happened to the other people?
Nah, I gotta say, I can't even acknowledge your question just based on the premise. Like what you're asking me is implying that there is any possible thing that could happen in any situation that would make me change my mind, and there's simply not. There's absolutely nothing that could happen.
I don't think it's about.
But I would go, oh, that must be supernatural because I can't explain it. That's just not something I would ever think.
Okay, and I can get that. But
you just want like a what if, like on the.
I mean, yeah, because I'm saying like if you are proven, I'm not saying that you can be, but on the chance that you are shown, oh, this is something else that isn't easily explainable, other people might have had a point to what they were talking about.
Look, I'm gonna answer your question the best I can. So this is what it sounds like you're asking me. It sounds like you're asking me basically this. Harley, if you saw a ghost with your own eyes and you interacted with a real ghost, would you then believe other people's ghost stories? Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. If I knew that ghosts were real all of a sudden, then for sure I would give some credibility to other people's ghost experiences.
That's what I'm getting at.
But again, there is absolutely nothing at all.
So a ghost wouldn't prove to you that ghosts are real.
What? No. Yeah.
So like a ghost is standing right in front of you, says, "Hey, I am a ghost," and you're gonna be like, "Nah, bruh.
No, dude. Listen.
Not today."
Okay. A real ghost would make me accept that ghosts are real, but what I'm saying is that they're not, and they don't make any sense. And that would absolutely never happen. Like, we might as well be talking about leprechauns in the garden. You know what I'm saying? Like, like what we're talking about is as ridiculous as if you said SpongeBob was real. Like, what if SpongeBob was real and came up to you? Like, yeah, if SpongeBob was real and came up to me, I'd believe in SpongeBob too. But he's not. And to me, there's no reason to even ask me the question, what if SpongeBob was real? Because ghosts are just as ridiculous as SpongeBob.
Okay, I can see that.
There's equal amounts of evidence for both.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are out of time. So where can they find you, Harley? That's right.
Man,
they can't.
You really want them to find me. You guys can't. You can't find me. I don't have a social media presence.
All right. And you can find me at AMR Photography on all social media. You can find me at Archangel Studios Official. And you can find this podcast at Nerd Locker Podcast, wherever you get them. And we'll see you guys next time. See ya.